Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to day two of our management of Ini WhatsApp platform. Today we're going to talk about Excel. What is Excel? Okay, in order to illustrate an answer to this question, we are going to use the file that CEO Alilu periodically send about Ini financial situation with our poultry project, right? Projet Élevage. I know this may be elementary for some of us, but I truly believe that for most people in this group, this will be a learning opportunity. So I will kindly ask you to just set a few minutes of your time to listen to this very carefully, preferably at home and in front of a computer. Today, we're going to talk about two main things. The first one is study the anatomy or the structure of Excel. And among other things, we're going to see what is Excel composed of, what are the different parts or elements of an Excel sheet or a workbook, which we'll define later. And then also, what are the functions of those elements? So, point number one, the anatomy of Excel. The second point is to see the use of Excel and why it is important for a business or an entrepreneur. So without further ado, like I said before, we are going to use a real life and any example to start today. Um, Please go to your email, search for the last file sent to us by CEO. So I'm going to open my email, like you can have already signed on. There are many ways to get to this quickly. You can either type a keyword that you remember quickly if the email is now already on top of your things, or you can quickly just type CEO's email or something like that. So in this case, we'll type CEO email, and you can see the recent emails that I received from the CEO. And the one that we're looking for is the INI situation, situation financière projet élevage. And this is the email right here. I'll go on it. One way to open the Excel file, you can double click. And by double click, I'm just clicking twice quickly, or you can right click and there is going to be some options that's going to come to either open the document. So quickly, we're going to open it. And this is it. I'm gonna enlarge it so that we all see the same thing that I see here. And then, we can work with it. So this is an Excel sheet, right? Um, and you should also see something like this. Now, the view might change slightly depending on which version of Excel you are using. There is 2011, 2013, 2016, and whether you are using a MacBook or a PC. I'm personally using the latest version of Excel, which is 2016, and a MacBook. When I can, I will show you the PC view as well. And so to demonstrate what I'm just talking about quickly, like you can see more or less these three buttons here. There's a red, yellow, green. This you might not be able to see it in the PC version. And I'm going to show you the PC version really quickly. Just one second, PC view. This is it. So in PC view, you will see something like this. Like you can see, is more or less the same, but a little bit different. But for most part, it will be the same. So let's go back to the document that I was using. It's this one, right? So let's look at the different parts of this Excel file. So when you're going to open the document, you will see some more or less something like this. Maybe the top might not be particularly, the same, but more or less you have the same elements. Um, the first thing that I want to show you is the title bar. So usually at the very top of your file, and you can see the cursor here, you will see the title bar. If your document already have the title, if your document already has a title, it will appear here. And in our case, you see INI Situation Financière Projet Élevage, and that's the name that the CEO gave it, right? So, later, maybe throughout the week, we'll see about how changing the names if you want to do a particular analysis, etc. But this is what is called the title bar. And there's another element that is very important, and it's called the ribbon. And the ribbon is, if you see at my left where it says home, insert, draw, page layout, formula, etc. So it's all of these that is called the ribbon. And the ribbon is really interesting tool. It's about helping you to style your Excel file, inserting or importing data, drawing the layout that you want, and also formulas like you can see here, or data. By data, if you want to do more advanced analysis, etc., right? So, but this, what you need to know now is all of this is called the ribbon, and the ribbon is a very interesting team, interesting function. It has many other sub bars like insert, draw, page layout, formula, etc. Again, depending on which version or which PC or MacBook you're using, this might appear a little bit different. After the ribbon, we're going to talk about something really quickly, and is a quick access toolbar. And the quick access toolbar is the very top. This is what we call the tool access toolbar, the quick access toolbars. Like you can see here, this has a meaning, is a save, no, is actually the Excel file, saving, undo, redo. Again, maybe let me see if I can open quickly. On the Excel, on the PC view, they will appear here at the very top left. Like you can see, there is an Excel icon, the save icon, the undo, and the redo, right? So those are called the tool access, the quick access toolbars. At the top right hand side, especially for the PCs, and I'm going to go back here on the PC version, we're talking about here, you will see something that is very important. Now there is a point d'interrogation, donc a question mark, and usually that appears for help. So anything you do on Excel, should you have a problem, you can literally type it and Excel will try to give you an answer, right? And there is this button right here is to make your Excel sheet smaller. And then there is also to put it at the very top bottom. So this is one of the things that are a little bit different on the from the PC to the Mac. So if I go back to the MacBook, that's exactly what they like. This green button, if I click it, you will see that my file will appear on total, will occupy the whole screen. Versus if I click back where it was, it will be much smaller. And at this rate, and this is applicable both for MacBook and PC, you can actually make it smaller. Let me try to show. Okay, so you can make it smaller by doing this, right? So there is ways to make it smaller or larger according to what you want to do. But let's just go back to where we are. So those were, what I wanted to show you really was the ribbon, how to make it smaller or minimize, restore down, etc. And like with what we just did with the axis, you can make it bigger or smaller. So it's a free for you to size it how you want your file to appear on the screen. Now, so jumping on is this right here at the very left after the home, right down there is like where it says A375, for example. It's called the name box, and later we'll come back to this, but this just tells you exactly it's like a reference, it's like a GPS for your Excel sheet. It tells you exactly where you pointed, what is the reference where you pointed. So for example, if I go back to here where it says quantité, you will see that this became D6. So it just referenced a cell in which I'm currently working on or the cursor in on. So that's what is called the name bar. And this right to the right of it, where it says quantité, is what we call the formula bar. Like you can see it appear, formula bar. And the formula bar is important. You use it. There is two ways to enter data into Excel. You can actually type in data. So when you use the formula bar, you can actually type in data. Like in this case, we type quantity. I can, it's quantité en French. I can change it and write quantity, and you will see that D changes to quantity, right? So again, just to apply what we did, remember we talked about undo, redo button. So if I put undo, it will go back to quantité as you will see here. Again, seriously, I want everyone to take a couple of minutes and try to do this. It'll help us in the future. So, and another way to use the formula burst, you can actually enter formulas. And as we go forward, maybe we'll have the opportunity to do this. So for example, if you look at the cell D3, I will put in number 2, right? And the cell E3, I will put in number 6. If I go to F and I go to formula bar and I say F equal, let's say E, so I reference the E3 minus D3, Excel will give me number 4 because Excel knows that when I reference E3 is a 6 and when I reference D3 is a 2, so 6 minus 2 equal 4. Again, we'll have the opportunity to talk about this and why Excel is sort of important for any business person. So again, let's use what we learned earlier, which is undo. So when I do undo once, the F is going to disappear. Undo twice, the E is going to disappear. Undo 3 times, and the D is going to disappear. It's like I never written anything down, right? So, and then the worksheet area. So we talk about most of the items that are on top, right? So the title bar, the ribbon, the quick access toolbar, minimizing, restoring, etc., the name bar, and the formula bar. The worksheet area is everything you see here, everything that I'm highlighting, and so on. And so that is the worksheet area. And that's actually where we're mostly going to be working. One, a cell, and that's what is referred to as a cell, it can be referenced or can be referred to by its column letter. So you can see the columns are letters A, B, C, D, etc. And the rows, the lines are 1, 2, 3, 4. So for each cell, there is a column letter and a row number. So for example, là où il y a désignation, you can see is on C and C and row 6. And that's also what you can see on the name bar, which is C6, right? So moving inside your workbook. So like again, this is a perfect example because they already has some data. When you want to move quickly, you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard. And arrow keys, I'm sure we all know it, but it is um, something like this. So something like this, we all have it on our computers. If you use it, if you go back to our uh, cell, right now we are in C6. By using the arrow down, you will see I'll be moving down. You can move it up, you can move it to the left, and you can move it to the right, right? And another way to move is to use the scrolling. So on my computer, you can just literally scroll, and it will be scrolling, or scroll up, scroll down, and you can also move this way onto Excel. An Excel file is called a workbook, and just like a regular book, it has many pages, or in this case, sheets. And like you can see, Excel file that the CEO sends us has many sheets. It has sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 5, all the way up to sheet 6, 10. And you can add more sheets. Let's say if you're working on a big analysis, you can add a sheet, delete a sheet. And one way to add the sheet is just go to this plus sign. When you add plus, you see we have sheet 11. And to delete it, you right click, and then you have the right click, and you have the options delete, and it's gone. Now we're back 10 sheet, and then also to move between sheets, you can just go and select. So here we're gonna point to sheet 1, click it, and we're back on sheet number 1. Viewing, and so at the very top, right here, the percent, right? And this is just to zoom in or zoom out. So let's say you're working on a really large file and you want to see exactly, for example, we cannot see exactly what is past column N, right? So if I zoom down, you will see that we'll be able to see it. But the problem with that is we might not be able to work with it or see exactly what is written. So to zoom out, we can just click the plus sign and we can just leave it at 100%. And you can do the same thing by just scrolling this button up and down. So we just leave it to 100. Okay. So, and finally, when you're done, you want to save your file. Again, remember the quick access toolbar usually has a save button. So if I click on it once, it will say some features in your might be lost. Exactly, because when the CEO sent, he was using a different version, for example. So if I want to save it, I can save in a different version, but I don't want to really go quickly into it. To save it, this is one option by clicking where we were, or by just pressing Control plus S. If you press and hold Control in the PC plus or plus S, you are saving the document. If it does not already have a name, your computer might ask you to give it a name, and you will literally just type the name and where you want to save it. Maybe we'll have the opportunities to come back to this later. So how to finish is point number two. Like, why is this important, right? Well, I used to have a professor who refers to Excel as CRAP, CRAP for CRAP. It says Excel is crap because Excel you use it for C for calculations, R for recording, A for analyzing, and P for presenting. So if we have really a time throughout the week, I can show you just using this file what we can do with Excel. Like what can we tell? CEO usually sends us, let's say if I go to sheet number 10 or rather number 9, we have here the date, œufs ramassés, cumul des œufs, œufs cassés, bon des œufs. We can quickly just, although he already gave us the percent, right? But this is per date. So we can do le pourcentage général des œufs cassés to this date. Excel can allow us to do that, right? So I just want to say this is important because we are investors, and some of the everything we do is about, we take money in, money is coming in. We need to be able to analyze each of us, and usually something about analyzing is not about the quantities, but is the quality. So we can come up with the same result as percentage des œufs cassés, but what that means each and every one of us is different. But if we don't do this quantitative analysis, we'll never get to where we can be actually talk and share ideas about where we want to go, where we are, etc. So going back to sheet number one, thank you. I think I will stop here, and inshallah, we'll work with this file throughout this week. عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.